Alright, um, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I wanted to make a test video about the controversy between the name of the Washington Redskins, involving the name of the Washington Redskins on whether or not they should change it. My position is that they should change the name Washington Redskins to something else. There are plenty of options out there that they can come up with and vote on, and eventually everybody will get used to it. It is easy to look up the information as to why people are upset. I don't think this is a democratic process as far as the number of persons that are upset. The fact remains that applying that term to human beings is not the right thing to do because it is a racial slur. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is from a video with Skip Bayless and this other ESPN guy, whose name escapes me right now. There's a lot of education that needs to be done in reference to the people that they call Native Americans. The people that they call Native Americans should not be called Native Americans, nor should they be called Indians, and they definitely should not be called Redskins. To illustrate this example, the analogy that came to my mind is that the United States currently has a base on the island of Cuba, or Guantanamo, where they do military things on there. If the Americans go out into the rest of Cuba, is it kosher or is it okay to call the Cubans Native Americans because we have an outpost on the island of Cuba? I think today people would understand right away that the Cubans are not Native Americans because there's a small group of what we call Americans on Guantanamo Bay, and the reason why that the Americans cannot call the rest of the Cubans Native Americans, even though there's a small group of Americans on the base, on the island, is because the Cubans are already established. They already have an identity. They are known as Cubans. In the same way, the people that were here before the European colonizers came, they had names, they had everything that the Cubans today have, as far as culture, identity, language, you name it. The other thing is that they should not be called Indians because Indians live in India. Indians come from a place. Indians are currently an active group that lives still in India. So that's not the proper term for them as well. So I think people should understand and avoid using those terms because it's blatantly wrong. It's an easy correction, and it should be practiced and promoted as such. I think that people are in a way lazy to use the proper terms. We know some of the name for the people involved, depending on where they are in this country, and I know some have been migrated, and some still live on reservations. But names such as Navajo, Cherokee, Blackfoot, Miccosukee, etc. So that's really who they are, depending where they come from, and they're each distinct. And when you meet someone and they identify themselves as, let's say Miccosukee, you should understand that they're from Florida, what we call Florida today, etc. So they're not all, one lump of group of people that are like all the same. The thing that they have in common in relation to Europeans and the colonizing process was that the Europeans came and took their land and killed them off, basically. And part of the problem is that they messed up their brains, just like they messed up the brains of Africans. And what I mean by that is you have some of these people who are saying that they're not offended by the name Redskins. And the analogy that I want to bring forth to the audience is that with Africans, some people, and I know that you're familiar with the N word. Some people say to each other, some Africans say to each other like, "Yo, um, what's up, my nigga," or whatever the case is. Of course, you know about the music that's used all the time, and sometimes people get in trouble for it, like Don Imus and that white lady who got in trouble for it. I forgot her name right now, but it just shows you like the status. Just because some black people use it, some African people use it, doesn't mean that it's right. The definition of redskin is inherently racist, and just so you should stop using that, and that's it. So Dan Snyder could just change the name, and that should be that. Everybody will eventually get used to it. It should be applauded, as a courageous move. Actually, it's an easy move for me and you. I guess because I'm not a fan of that team. So I wanted to make a quick video about that. So to recap, the people in question are not Native Americans, so stop using that term, please. They're not Indians. Indians are from India, and the Washington Redskins name needs to be changed to something else. Also, keep in mind that just because a group uses a term that's bad, like niggas, black people use niggas, females call each other bitches and hoes themselves, it doesn't mean that it's right. I want to tell Dan Snyder and all the Washington fans that they can take as many poses as they want. The N-word is the N-word, and if you're a female, a bitch is a bad word, heifer, hoe. I mean, we understand what they're trying to say. It doesn't matter if people use it as a term of endearment. That's just still wrong. So that's my video, and thank you for watching.